writing these verses, about being an animal and da-da-da.
He's taking shots at me.
I write the verse. I write
he
the
took
verse.
shots
I
at
come
me.
back and she said, "You wrote that about me, did you?"
Sucker.
What?
Yo, he wrote a beef song to his wife.
Oh my god.
Can you start over?
Let's start like that. Just like
No.
this is what we
You want
do.
to start like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
How
Hey,
we
what's
did.
up, guys? We're back. It's episode 2. Aren't you excited?
Yes. So my name is Konata Small.
And I am Amanda Small.
You know what I'm saying? And you are tuning into
The greatest.
our-
No, I'm joking.
our small
world.
Yes. How you doing today?
I'm doing
Why'd you
good.
want to start over? This is what makes us
I
us.
know.
That I'm ridiculous and you are.
I'm
the
surprised you're not
perfectionist.
in the bathroom right now, actually, because that's
Just wait.
usually how
Just
stuff
wait.
starts.
Mid sentence, I'm gonna walk out and use the bathroom and come back.
What is that? Like,
I got to use the bathroom. I got to be on empty. I got to be on empty to not think about using the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Whether I'm eating, going to sleep, about to watch a movie,
going to church,
going to church, anything.
the biggest
Got
inconvenience
to
in
be
life.
on empty before I walk into a place. Period. You can't eat like a delicious meal while you got to pee. It just takes away from the steak. You know what I mean? All right. Anyways, that wasn't part of the plan, but hey, it is what it is. So how you doing? What's up?
I'm doing good.
I like your sweater. Where I get one of those?
I'll see him.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll let you know soon.
That's what I'm talking about. Good city in the building. Too,
In the
by way.
building. So
Sponsored
listen,
by
Good
Good
City
City.
in the building. What is Good City? You want to tell them what Good City is?
Good City is a company that I get to be a part of, run by her,
Which he co-owns.
which I co-own. But yeah, she's the brains behind the opera. I'm the CFO. I'm the chief financial operator, but she is doing everything else. So go ahead, COO, CEO, owner, speak. Tell them. Talk.
So Good City is in the building, boy.
Mm.
No, Good City is just a company that we launched several years ago
Mhm.
to help facilitate our music. And then it just kind of grew into what it is today.
Where'd the name come from? Where's Good City? What's the
Good
name?
City, the city on the hill.
City
Matthew.
on the hill. You know what I'm talking
You know what I'm
about?
saying?
A good city.
Make sure you always shine,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm, mhm.
But Good City, the heartbeat was behind it. We kind of just all started out a bunch of friends just making music, doing what we love. Some of us were songwriters, artists, producers, engineers, all that
Mhm.
stuff. And so we kind of just all got together, started making music together, and we started Good City. We really wanted to start it just to kind of provide a space for indie artists to release music. And then, the company started growing. I started helping facilitate other artists and helping them
Mhm.
get signed, not knowing I was eventually one day going to step into management. And the
Mm.
company has just kind of, changed through the years with just the industry and stuff. And so it went from starting out as a group of friends making music to launching into a brand and music
Mhm.
management company. We also do publishing and sync licensing.
Mhm.
Which is what we really have kind of pivoted into now, is that we do a lot of music for sync, for TV and film and
Mhm.
video games. And I also get to help not a bunch. I get to help some artists and some brands build their brands. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's been fun. It's been good. This has been probably, 2007. So it's been several years we've been doing this.
Yes.
So-
It went dormant for a little while, right?
It went dormant for a little bit.
like a good
Yeah, we were trying to figure out.
4 years or so, whatever. It was just
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out where we were going with. That was,
Mhm.
that was an interesting season, but we'll
Yes.
talk about it another time. We don't talk about that.
Yes.
But it's in a good space now. We're excited. And
Mhm.
so Konata and I, we own Good City along with other businesses that kind of fall under it.
Okay.
And so, that's what we do. We've been doing it for a while. So, babe,
Mm.
people ask us all the time, how do we work together?
How do we work together?
How would you say, we get asked often, how do you guys handle like the business and personal life? So how would you say, in your opinion, how have we done handling that? How do we handle like the business and personal life, like separating business and personal?
I mean, for the most part, I think we do a good job. But like anything, I think we have some
Mm-hmm.
areas we can be a little bit better. But for the most part, we gel well together now. Wasn't always, right? Because you are a dreamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes me an executor, but you're a dreamer and you execute as
Yeah.
well. But I remember there was a time where you would dream of things and I would be like, what? Why do we need to do that? Even when we started making music, like we would make a song that I thought was perfect, and then you'd be like, no, let's add this. I'm like, why? No, it sounds fine the way that it is. And she said, well, if we add it, it's not going to take away from anything. We could always remove it
Mm.
if it doesn't sound good. And then we would add it, every once in a while. She was right. You know what I'm saying? Give her credit where credit's due. You know what I mean?
That's what I do.
So, so, I always talk about this. One time we went to a radio station in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where we were. It was in the middle of nowhere. It's just a big antenna flying up to the sky in the middle of trees. And we did an interview with these backcountry people. Like they didn't look like they played hip hop or anything. But I remember when we left there, you was like, man, I want to own a radio station. And I was like, who says that?
Me.
Who leaves and says, I want to own a radio? And I used to have a tough time with it,
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned, over the years that my position in your life is not to cancel your dreams or anything like that, but to run with them. Because a lot of times the things that you're getting are downloads.
Yeah.
And that's from your prayer life and hanging out with God and all this kind of stuff. And, you get inspired. And so now my role is to encourage and just say, hey, what's it take?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look into it. Let's see the possibilities there. And that mindset alone has been able to change the way that we work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100-fold.
And everything from taking on, because I always thought Good City Music was just us. Like I didn't want anyone else to be a part of it. And that's selfish, right? Because I didn't think that way. And as I've, grown, obviously, now I can see the beauty of it. Because it's not about, in anything you do, there's no real satisfaction in pleasing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you can give to other people.
Yeah.
It's how you can serve at a greater level. Anyone will tell you that. The greatest philanthropist in the world, that giving side of whatever you do always feels better than getting. You know what I mean? So I learned that through you and your dreaming and such.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good, I'm trying to think of any weaknesses that we have.
We have plenty.
We
I think I think even in return of what you're saying, like, so I had to learn because not every dream needed to be shared either. And so
Joseph,
learning, and it wasn't that you were trying to kill my dream. I had to learn that sometimes an idea needs to sit a little bit, like just sit with it. And, is this even an idea that's worth mentioning? I think for me, because I'm a creative, a lot of creatives just kind of like to throw paint on the wall and see what it looks like. So learning that, well, because you used to get so overwhelmed and it would be discouraging for me. And so I would find myself like kind of going into a shell and just trying to learn how, okay, well, if that's overwhelming him, it would make me feel like something, like, man, I need to like not overwhelm him. But it wasn't that. It was just learning how to communicate. Okay, you may have an idea, but not all, it doesn't always need to be shared. Sometimes it just needs to be tucked, or just write it out, or, research it a little bit and then come with the idea. And not every idea I had was actually something I just wanted to execute. It would just be like, man, that'd be kind of dope to own a radio station. My issue is that people that know me, if I have an idea, 99% of the time I'm going to execute it. And so I think that is what became overwhelming. But I had to learn, like, not every idea I have is for me to execute. Some ideas I get is actually for other people to execute. And I think once I started learning that, it kind of helped the dynamic of not overloading you, And I think too, you started helping me, and one of my good friends, you both started helping me you guys started learning how to ask the right questions that I didn't feel discouraged. And so when you started doing that, it helped me to like process my ideas and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think that's something that we've grown into better.
Yeah.
I think now, I think when I come to you with an idea now, it's better thought out.
Yeah.
I think it's way better thought out.
Right.
It's not like, hey, let's go buy a jet. And you're like, what the
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like, hey, let's go buy a jet. This is how we're going to do it.
Right. Exactly.
We're not buying a jet, guys. I don't need a jet.
Buying a jet.
I'm just trying to
good example.
Get new rims on my car. But but I think with business and personal, I think early on it was tough because we were doing music. I did not do a good job at separating.
No, so check this out, right? We be in the middle of.
I'm taking all the L's. It's okay. It's okay. I'm okay to admit my flaws, guys.
We'll be in the middle of a session, right? And anything can happen, right? It could be about a bill that we needed to pay at home, and she would get like maybe she got a notification say, "Hey, we need to pay this bill." Okay, and then just get out of it, or let's take that out of the comment. Maybe it was just a disagreement we had, even outside of the studio.
Yeah.
And then the next day we had to go to the studio. But if we're still not haven't resolved that, then music isn't being made. Like there's you gonna record? Yeah, I'm gonna record. Stupid. Like she's talking. That's her talking to me. By the way,
I did not.
But that would be the sentiment of the recording situation, which throws off the dynamics. We was in a group, Juan Love, shout out to Juan Love. He got to see this firsthand. He would be like, oh boy, man, what's going on? Like he could feel the energy if we came into the studio, and it was because we couldn't separate. And I say we, I'm going to put myself in there as well, because I made up for about, 10% of that, 20%, maybe 30%. Anyways, when we would come into a session, if we had any unresolved conflict, it would bleed into that. It would bleed into shows.
I would shut the whole session down.
Exactly.
I'd kick everyone out. Get out.
There was times where we would get into an argument or like a little disagreement after a show even. And now I'm sleeping in the room with Juan. And she got the room to herself, and I think Zoe at the time. Zoe was traveling with us. So that kind of stuff would happen. But, it is what it is. It was looking back on it, it's all funny. At the time, it was like, man, what in the world is happening here?
It was tough. It was tough trying to figure out. I mean, we were together all the time. So it was just like literally, it was like 23 hours a day we were together because 1 hour you'd go work out. And even then, I was like, can I go with you? You're like, no! Leave me alone.
Oh, man.
But we were together so often. So it was like trying to figure out we're working together, we're traveling together, we're living out of a suitcase together, we're now coming home to live in a house, like everything was together. And so it was just like, so much of our life at that time was business. So it was like we didn't have much personal time. Like we were constantly on a flight, we were constantly in a meeting, so it was like our personal time was just so small. So it was just like, and then too, I was the business person of the group. So not only am I trying to carry the creative side of stuff, but I'm carrying the business side. And then I'm also managing the home stuff. And so it's just like, we got this pressure of making money and trying to pay. And then it's like, I'm in the middle of trying to write a verse. And now I just, so it was just it was just hard to figure out when do I have this moment to like have a moment with my husband. And we just didn't have it. And so I didn't know how to like leave it at the door, right? Go into the studio, knock out what we had to do, and then come out the studio and pick it back up. And,
But also I think some of it was the communication, right? Because you didn't communicate to me at the time that I needed to do more. Like I needed to step up in certain areas because just, I don't know if you wanted to handle it. I doubt that you did, but for whatever reason, I didn't get at the time that I should be, stepping it up in these particular areas, and you didn't communicate that.
I think for
me,
I thought
because you managed so much, I
didn't like to feel like I was inconveniencing you, so I felt like I'll just carry it, and then the load just got too heavy, and then Juan got it. And Juan is like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, get out of here.
And that's what changed. I mean, that's what really changed is we had a shift. I remember you had shipped all the bills to me.
Yeah.
And then I was, taking care of everything. And you had said, man, I feel so good about this, blah, blah, blah. It was easier, and it was for a period of time.
Yeah.
And as we got more successful, there was just more bills, I should say.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problem. Not more debt. And I want to make sure that's
we're
clear.
debt free, son.
Not more debt, more bills. So when that happened, then you kind of wanted to kind of come back on board and kind of help out or whatever. But I think that time of shifting it over to me helped you. Absolutely, and it helped me. Because then I was like, oh man, this is what she was feeling like. This is what, but
then he had the attitude. I was like, what's wrong? You okay? You don't want to write this verse? No? Okay.
But yeah, it was all it definitely was all a learning process.
Absolutely. And I think now, on this side of it, like I think we handle it so good. Even to the point now I've learned how to just handle it like that with all my business relationships and stuff. And I think sometimes people, that I do business with, sometimes if I'm having a personal situation with them, now they struggle with when I walk into business side of stuff with them, that I can still move into business. And they're like, well, how do you do that if we haven't resolved this? And for me, that took years of me learning that I've just learned to leave the personal. It's not changing what we need to handle, but this here, like we got to still handle this.
Yeah.
And learning that in the business side of stuff, if we brought the personal into the business, it doesn't just affect us, but it affects everyone that's on our team, everyone who's a part of what we're doing. So our stuff can't bleed into their stuff. And so that's just something that I think we just do well now.
And people outside of that can feel the tension of unresolved things. So you really have to really figure that out so that it doesn't, affect your opportunities, And I think I remember we went to LA and I recorded. I knew you were gonna bring that up. After Fight Back. Okay. Fight Back just came out, you know what I'm saying? Check it out.
Make sure you guys go download that junk.
It's probably out already. It's probably been out.
It's been out.
Yeah. Whenever this airs. But Fight Back, we just released this past Friday. It was done not years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But not that song, but the next song we did was called Animalistic. And I was doing that song during a time when we were really at a bad, we had really had a real argument, earrings off, Vaseline, head up type of argument. She was ready for me, you know what I'm saying? And then here we had to go in these two at the time strangers, make music, still try to be cordial. Hey, what do you think about that song? And my baby girl at the time, she's wearing her heart on her sleeve. Like she was real tight, but oh, it's okay. But
it's cool.
It's cool. But the guys in the session was like, you guys all right? It's like, yeah, man, yeah. So I'm writing these verses, about being an animal and da-da-da.
He's taking shots at me.
I write the verse.
He took shots at me. I come
back and she said, you wrote that about me? Like,
what? Yo, he wrote a beef song to his wife.
Oh my gosh. And that's not what happened. But
it's okay. Again, it made us a lot of money.
It bled into that particular song, And
it's actually a dope song though.
It is. It's pretty dope.
You're welcome.
Oh my God. I don't know why I brought that up. Anyways, I say all that to say there was a lot of learning curves, but now, like you said, it's a dance, I don't know if it's the waltz or what's the other one?
It's like the Kid and Play. I think we're like
play, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we got the dance down. Or we're getting it better.
Yeah.
Soon we'll be able to tango. Right now we're just Kid and Play. To tango is like a big deal.
I think we're doing pretty good at it. I think we're
dancing, you moved on.
Oh, sorry.
You know
I think we're doing pretty good at it. I think
only thing we're not doing, I don't know nothing about my money. It just goes into her account. I just be like, yo, what's up with the money,
not
dog?
Her account, our account.
See, it's getting real.
Let's change that. Because they're going to be like, oh, they got a separate account. No, we got a business account.
The business account. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Relax.
All right, I know a little bit, man. You messing up this is my story, not yours. Okay, I'm go. Your perspective,
texture. Your truth.
You know what I'm saying? Layers. You know what I'm saying? I'm making this more complicated than we are.
We're
But
not that
no.
complicated.
So I'm just joking. So, we navigated well. But
So-
again, it was a journey. Absolutely.
So I like that, right? Because I think too, there's a trust that we have. I was actually sharing this with Risha the other day.
Mhm.
Shout out to Risha.
Shout out.
That we've learned how to trust each other in each other's lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think before I was trying to run with you in your lane, you were trying to run with me in my lane. And I think that's what caused some tension too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just let me do what I'm supposed to do. Let me let you do. And so now I think we trust each other in that lane. Like, you trust me with the business side of stuff. When I need to do creative stuff, you trust me with that.
Mm-hmm.
With the creative stuff, I'm not in the studio with you like I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I go in there, hang out with you, but
Yeah.
like, I'm not sitting there like, oh, you should write this or you should, like, you're in your pocket. And so you're just running in your lane. So I think we've just learned how to trust each other in each
Mm-hmm.
other's lanes, and we've caught a rhythm that just works.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so, I think that's
and again, that marries back to what we were talking about of the business side of things. The balance is easier when trust is
Yeah.
there. That's the biggest thing. People have fallouts because of trust, which
Yeah.
usually comes from an action, that's related to money when it's just a business partner. But
That's
in
good.
our sense, or in our case, I should say, that trust and the personal things that we've been through has helped
Yeah.
the business side and being
Yeah.
able to trust you. Because at the end of the day, you want what's best for me. I want what's
Yeah.
best for you. And we also have some vested partners in the back
Yeah.
playroom.
And I think that's what
Children.
changed stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
we started thinking about, okay, how we're building this for the kids, right? Even though we're the ones working the field right now, per se, right?
Mhm.
But really, we're working the field
they're
so
enjoying
our
the
kids
spoils.
can reap the harvest of it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's generational wealth,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what we always talk about. And so I think that's just the beauty of growing in it. I think it's tough when I speak to it's funny when couples or someone will come to me and be like, I could never work with my husband, and it's like, oh, that's a shame, because
Mhm.
like I can't imagine not working with you. Like, we've had a season that we didn't work together, remember?
Mhm.
And it sucked. I was
It
like,
did.
my God, I can't wait till this season's over. This
It
is
did.
trash. Like,
Mhm.
it wasn't trash. God forgive me. I'm sorry. It was a blessed season. I needed it. But
Mhm.
I just
I needed
missed
it too, right?
yeah, we needed it.
it
We
to
definitely
understand
needed
how
it.
important this is.
Yeah. And so I did. I remember I used to miss you. I used to be like, man, I can't wait to
Mhm.
till we're like back together to like work. And so when people come to me and say, man, I could never work with my husband, I'm just like, why? Like, I
Mhm.
just think they haven't caught a rhythm, because for me, I just feel like I don't feel like every couple is called to work together. I understand that.
Nope.
Some people are called to do ministry together, some people are not. And I understand that. But I think if you are finding yourself in a work
Mhm.
partnership, the beauty in creating that partnership is finding your rhythm. And it's going to come with some hurdles, and it's going to come, but learning, okay, what is her strength? What is my strength? What is her weakness? What is my weakness? And learning how to work in it, because, like, what better partner for me to have than my life partner, right? Like, for me, that's
Me,
just like,
absolutely.
you.
Who's better than
Who-
me?
Who better? I don't want nobody else.
You know what
You know
I'm
what
saying?
I'm saying? Get that money, boy, so I can spend it.
But a perfect example, I did a album called Established in 1997.
Mhm.
And I did a whole record pretty much. And the only songs that I asked for input on was the song No Devils featuring Jay Kabasa
Mhm.
and Doing Me. I was just talking to Sybil, right? And one of her favorite songs, one of the favorite songs of the album, and it's because I actually asked you, hey, and that was towards the end. I was already done with the album and came to you for the last two songs. Then I realized, why in the world wouldn't I ask you, as someone who does music, as someone who A&Rs music, as someone who knows what hits sound like, as someone who added to the rap style that I used to have prior to Rhema Soul, because I used to be an underground rapper, all bars, all day, whack hooks. And then you helped me to develop. Now I know how to make hooks easily because of, your influence on my life. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Especially the love hooks, girl. Anyway, so that's just so y'all get uncomfortable that are watching. So yeah, man, I mean, that to not utilize you as a resource that God has placed in my life was just dumb. But I needed to experience this. Man, I'm gonna do this one on my own. I'm gonna make sure the beat, Al, change that. I'm gonna do this thing. Shout out to Al Cresso, hooked up the production on that whole album. I needed that situation to appreciate how much of an asset you are. And obviously not just in music, but in life. You know what I'm saying?
So stupid.
But yeah, so one of the other questions, what is your, because, like you said, there's people that are like, there's no way in the world I would work with her. There's no way in the world I would work with him. That's how they reference each other in terms of business and working together. And we know that sentiment is, there's times when you need a break, It's not very often because you love being around me. Facts. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Facts.
I do.
But the times when you do need to get away, or the line drawn in the sand, let's talk about that. Are there lines that get blurred? Are there lines that that we have that we've agreed to not cross?
Boundaries.
So one of my boundaries that I set up a long time ago is I have my email address a certain way with your name on it and my name. Why? Because if I'm working with someone who is of the female persuasion, more than likely they're going to be able to figure out that my middle name is not Amanda. Like more than likely they're going to figure that out. So that's one of the things I've done. Any sort of text exchange that I have with people, producers, especially now with the sync stuff and these companies and, anyone really, I'm quick to get you on it instead of trying to figure things out on my own or tell you late, you know? And one of the biggest things that helped us, because I used to be the worst. I used to be like, man, I got this manager, we'd be eating, we'd be drinking coffee at the beach, supposed to be chilling. Hey, did you hear that one song? Like, let's talk about that right now. You're like, what? Like, I don't want to talk about that right now. So now you once told me, you said you have to appreciate, that wasn't a word, but you have to respect my time. So I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? We live together. Like, what are you talking about? We're watching TV and something comes on, makes me think of something and ask you about it. And you was like, well, that's fine. But if you want to just laid over answer where I'm not even thinking because I'm not thinking about whatever you're talking about, then that's what you're going to get. But if you want me to sit down with you and make a plan for something, then let's set up a meeting. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, what'd you say? Hey, you had to set up a meeting with my wife? You said that's why you have to set up a meeting because what you're asking for is not a wife's duty.
Come on, somebody.
You're asking for me as a manager to manage your situation just like anyone else. And once we started doing those, we had a brand brief, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
With the team. And it just makes sense now. Well, if we're going to talk about this, let's talk about the whole thing and get all the kinks out of it instead of talking about these little fragments, sporadic, nothing gets done. Let's put some dates on it, blah, blah, blah. And I think once we started doing that, that helped.
Changed everything. Yeah,
it helped with the boundaries. And it's not like and the way that I thought about it, I thought it was going to be more treacherous. Oh, man, I got to set up. Oh, you free a week from today? Like all this stupid stuff, And it was just a question. Hey, when can we talk about this? Let me set it up. Let me get Risha involved. Let me get the interns. Let's get whoever's involved and let's do it.
Yeah.
And now it makes so much sense and it's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's something I look forward to. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about this. So I know what I'm getting into. I know where the mindsets are. And everyone's on the same page.
On the same page, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I think, we were not good at that before. Like everything was just our conversations were like
all over
the place.
Your verse on that one song, like, can you say this and this? What are you talking about?
And it's like we're eating dinner we went out on a date.
Right, or a date night. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah, I think it's tough learning how to do that. I remember when that conversation started happening with the boundaries because I was starting to get busier. Because before it was just me and you and, we had our stuff. But when I was starting to add people to the team, it just felt like, okay, I really got to and it's weird, like hearing you say it, I never even realized that I set a boundary. It was just kind of like, hey, let's shift this to make this a little bit more professional. Like, so we're not looking like we're all over the place. And I remember, I think what sparked that was I had come home and shared with you a brand partnership that I had gotten for somebody that I was like hype about. And I was like, Konata, you'll never believe, like I just pitched this idea and we signed the deal. I got this brand partnership. And I was so excited. And you were like, well, what about mine? And I was like, wait, what? And I was coming home to tell you as my husband, like,
right.
you know,
and
you were like, well, what about, like, where's my brand partnerships? And I was like, it was like,
yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, we got to set some rules here, because that's not going to work. Like, because I didn't want it to feel like, because if we're not careful, that can set a tone for jealousy and envy and all that stuff. And that was you know, I wanted to be very mindful of that stuff, that I'm not telling you this because I'm not working hard for you, but there's also other people that we're now coming alongside and partnering with and stuff. So I remember when we started those conversations and you were like, what? I got to set a meeting with you. And
that was, you know, just to be clearly honest with everyone, that was when I was going through my own situation and I was selfish. You know, I didn't know, you know, that was before I kind of had this clarity and this mental health check and figured out that one of my biggest weaknesses in life was just that I was a little selfisher than I ever thought I was. I never thought I was a selfish person until these things happened to kind of give me light. And once I was able to address that, why was my first inclination with you telling me something that is dope that you did? Why'd I just make it about me? You know, and a lot of artists struggle with that. Yeah, you know, because they have a hard time celebrating anyone, you know, if it's in parallel lanes with them or even in perpendicular lanes, or something that they're running into, something they think that they could do. Why isn't this happening for me? And, you know, we see it happen now with the things we happen. We get DMs and people asking questions with hidden agendas and so on and so forth. And all that comes from a place of insecurity and artistry and so on and so forth. And that was the lane I was in. But all those things were highlights that I needed to be like, why are you feeling like this? And now when you tell me that stuff, I'm as excited about it as you are. Why? Because not only have I, because vision is not something that you necessarily, you know, you don't work with someone on it. You catch it. And either you catch it or you don't. Yeah. But the way you catch the vision of someone is to hang out with them and to know their heart, and then your heart connects with theirs. So now when you're telling me things that are happening, I understand the win as our win. Just like before, when I would get a placement, you know, I got the Ballers place and I'm coming home telling you about it, you know, as soon as I told you about the placement, you accepted it as our win. Yeah. I didn't get the placement. We got the placement. Yeah. And that's that's been our vocabulary moving forward. But yeah, like you said, that was the first sign. And then once I was able to say, okay, because you even said in that thing, you said, well, have we spoken about this? Have we had a full-blown conversation about the things that you want to get into? And I said, but you know me. And you said, yeah, I know you, but I don't know what you want to do with what I know about you. And that's why we need a formal conversation. And that whole thing, like you said, it came from that conversation. And that's why it's very important to communicate, but it's also very important. Whoever you work with, you know, it can't just be about the work, especially in a creative atmosphere. You have to kind of catch the vision of whatever you're doing. Otherwise, it's going to be treacherous. And you're not going to enjoy it as much as you should. Yep. So that was very, very, very. It was a well-learned lesson. It was good. And I think once we made that pivot, it just kind of like allowed us to level up into just how we handled everything. Honestly, I think that's when our business really started thriving, and we were able to kind of, you know, navigate the new arenas where we were in and stuff. So, how would you say like we handle? Because we still spend a lot of time together. What are some of your outlets that like? So you told me the other day, which I was like, what? You said that I used to be like a leech. Not a leech. What did you say? You was clingy.
I was clingy. And I was dumbfounded that you even had the audacity to use that word. Because
but you just said it.
But me clingy was like, what? That's somebody that's needy. And I was not needy. I'm not needy at all. You think I'm needy?
No, not
Oh,
now.
okay.
When
Was I needy
said
then?
it, absolutely. You were the perspective. And here's what happened.
I was needy?
Your social life
Yeah.
wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
We would come home from these shows, we'd be traveling. And, you know, to give context, my wife moved here when she was 20 years old, right? I moved here when I was 13. So therefore I had a better network of friends, you know, and people that I had grew up together. So when I came back from these trips, it was old friends. Yo, let's go hang out. Let's go bowling. Let's go play pool. Basketball is my thing. I play basketball as much as I can. For her, she was, you know, getting to know people and you know, so she didn't have the same network of people to go hang out with. And as a result, when I would go home and I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna run out to whatever, or, you know, Lewis wants to hang out, you know, I'd feel bad because then I'm leaving you by yourself home because you wouldn't, if you were going out the same time I was going out, then we were cool.
Yeah.
And I would try to plan dates for you, like, yo, man, can your wife like hang on my wife? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you got me sounding like I have no friends.
Yeah, I would be going crazy. So that's what, you know, I mean, that's what it
it's true. My social life was just...
your social life wasn't there. So it gave a little bit of strain to my social life. You know what I'm saying? Because even sometimes, I mean, you would get a little like, why do you
like, why are you leaving? Where are you going? Why are you leaving?
Can I come?
I'm bored.
No.
Call your friend. And I'm like, they're busy. That's the worst. It was like,
yeah.
And then I don't have normal friends. Like I just needed to find a friend that didn't have no life. Like,
right.
Can you just be,
just go
can you
to
just a person I can call? Like I didn't have those.
Watch a movie.
Like I
you don't have any of that
no,
stuff.
I would call the people and be like, we're freaking changing the world today.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Well, let me know when you're done with that.
Mm-hmm. So that's what would happen. But going back to your original question, you know, and I just mentioned my outlets.
Yeah.
Like I have to go and work out a little bit. I have to play a little basketball. Why? Because for me, it's a stress reliever. It gets me even. You know, there's been times where I would not play basketball. I would not go work out, and I'm around the house just tense, tripping, like just angry. You know what I'm saying? Just like I need to go and let this energy out. Because it's what I've been doing my whole life. So that's been a good, you know, outlet for me. But we had to get to that place where it was cool for me. You understood it, you know, because you didn't always understand it, right? And the same for me, you know, like there's certain times where you just need quiet. You need to just be able to chill. In some cases, you need to be by yourself. Like recently, you've been ditching me for Jesus. You go in your room for an hour. I'm like, yo, let's watch a show. Jesus knows who you are. I'm just joking. I love God. I have my private time with Jesus. Not like her. She be going in. You know what I'm saying? But even recently, like, you know, that's definitely, I think, been, you know, part of your outlet. Part of your breakaway to go hang out with the Lord. You know, to go on your drives. You know, and now you've been jumping into this taboo thing amongst the minority community, and that's called mental health. Right? You've been doing some counseling or whatever. Not that you need it, because you're perfect. Beautiful girl. But even that, you know, so it's I think we have a good balance of working and figuring out when we need to release, when we need to go, you know. Do something.
I agree. You know, it's funny when we were touring. I remember I came home and our pastor, you know, asked to meet with me, and so I remember I went to go meet with her, and we were just kind of talking, and so she's trying to like process and understand, like, okay, what's you guys' life look like and stuff. And I remember she asked me, she's like, so what's your social life look like? And I was like, yeah, you know, me and Konata go. And she's like, well, okay, outside of Konata, like, what does your social life look like? And I was like, yeah, you know, I do stuff. And she's like, what do you do? And I was like, you know, I go out. She's like, who do you
travel?
Yeah, I was like, why travel? She's like, no, outside of work, like outside of ministry, outside of your husband, what do you do for yourself? And I was just like, I don't know. And she was like, well, who's your friends? And so I'm telling her, like, and she's like, okay, well, how often do you see each other? I was like, I don't know, like every couple months. She was like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, that's how often you see your friends? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm always on the road. And she said, when was the last time you had a conversation that did not have to do with any of this stuff? Like, was the last time that you went out to dinner with your girlfriend? And I was just like, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't have a social life. And she was actually the one that helped me realize, like, I didn't have a life outside of music. And so my whole life was just engulfed in this thing. Excuse me. And so.
And what was the greatest misconception people would have that wanted to hang out with you?
Yes. So they just thought I was always busy, you know? And so, but it was tough because that season was kind of, you know, that was a tough season for us because, especially for me, because I didn't have the friends that I can just call them like, hey, let's go play basketball. Like, it wasn't like I didn't have a friend and like, hey, let's go work out together. It was just, so while we're home, we're, you know, Monday through Friday, and it's a Wednesday and I'm bored at 2:00 and I'm calling my friend like, hey, let's go out. And she's like, I'm at work. Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. And then I'll call her like the next day. Hey, do you want to go to the mall? And she's like, still at work. And I used to get so frustrated. And I remember I used to get mad at her. Like, you never have time for me. She's like, Amanda, I have a job. And I couldn't process like, well, why won't you just leave your job to come hang out with me? And that sounds stupid, right? But she's like, I have a job. Like,
I want to keep
I want to keep my job. And so it was just like, you know, then our job started on the weekends. And so we hop on a flight on a Thursday, or she'd call me like, hey, let's have dinner Friday, or let's go to the movie Saturday. And I'm like, well, I can't. I'm going to be in, you know, Alabama. Well, how about Saturday? Well, I'm going to be in California. And it was just like this weird dynamic that, you know, we were just always missing each other. And then we're never here for the holidays. Like, hey, why don't you guys come for Thanksgiving? We're going to be in Wisconsin. Like, it was just, we're the entertainment. And so that season was just really rough. It was lonely, you know, because lonely. And I don't think a lot of artists talk about that type of stuff, how lonely that life is, because you come home and you don't have a normal life. Like
unless you're surrounded by other
artists, and then, you
rare,
know, And so I think that's honestly what started helping me, is that I did start just having to reconnect with the other artists that we had here in South Florida and, you know, make that time. And, but again, it was still music related, and I just wanted to learn how to just have time. And so I think people just had the misconception that I was just always busy. And then too, like, because I just got so tired, I would come home and then not tell people I was home. And then they'd be like, oh, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been here for 3 weeks. So, you know, I just had to learn how to navigate that, you know, and, but I think when she asked me about my social life, I think that challenged me to really like, how are you doing this? Because this isn't healthy. Like your whole world is revolving around this one thing. And so I actually had to go and start having intentional conversations with my friends and say, hey, we got to be intentional about this. Like, I need friendship. And that was huge for me to be like, I need friendships. And, you know, and so.
Feels extra vulnerable.
Yeah, it's like, I need you. I'm like, what?
Saying we don't do that.
I don't do that. Need you.
I don't need nobody. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Me, myself, and Irene. What?
And God is like, no, I created community. So I think once I started learning how to navigate that, I think that's what helped. And I'm in a way healthier space with that stuff now.
Absolutely.
So my outlets now are, you know, definitely love going out to eat.
Why
but
are you going to vegetarian?
What?
Why are you going to vegetarian food all of a sudden? What's up? Sorry.
Just wanted to get healthier.
Okay.
You know?
And you've been doing a good job with the health, because I'm gonna pivot to working out, right?
Yep,
I work out. Since you've known me, I worked out. I remember the first time we went out on a date, yo. We was I don't know if it was a date, but we was by the beach. And we went into the store. And at the time I was working out like a maniac, you know, but I was thinner, so I didn't have this weight on me that I have now. But I felt like if you saw me, you knew that I worked out. Right. And I remember we was in the store and we was looking at these shirts. And at that time, the fitted shirts were in style, in sync, and all these people. Yeah. Then we were kids. But anyways, we was there looking at this clothes. And I remember I said, yo, what you think about this shirt? And he was like, yeah, that's a cool shirt. But you know, you gotta be muscular to wear this shirt. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
Who's this girl
I do 200 push-ups right now with you on my back. You know what I'm saying? Like I was so stupid. But that's how much I've, been into physical
Yeah.
fitness. And it all started with my mom. My whole life, she was always on a diet, working out, buying some gym equipment. And I think it just bled into my life. So again, this is something that I do. It's an outlet. People ask me if I love working out. I don't know if I necessarily love it, but I do like the feeling I get when I'm done. It's treacherous work to work out. Like, and you have to be weird to actually enjoy it, but you enjoy the results of the hard work. So, with you've been eating healthier, you want to get into working out. Let me ask you, like with me as someone who's working out all the time, whatever, and we went to the gym, right? You start yawning. Yeah, you start yawning on the tread. I'm like, what in the world? Who's yawning? Like, is this boring to you?
Yes, very much.
And
so.
you told me that, that's happened your whole life. As soon as you get ready to do some sort of workout, you get tired. And I think a trainer told you it was something to do with
lack of
oxygen, so on and so forth. So let me ask you, how is that? Because for me, it's been tough, right? Because I want to see you working out. I want to see you do it more because you expressed the idea that you want to do it more. Yeah. How is it on the other side when you see me? Does it make you? Do you even care? Like, no, I don't care.
I care that you work out. Like, right. I love that.
But it doesn't make you want to work out.
No, okay. Not at all.
So explain. Why doesn't it make you want to work out? Well, we just bought this machine, right? Right? Right?
Yeah.
And you got to do 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to be on that thing, right? Yeah. We bought that. We invested. You're going to jump on that train, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah.
What are your plans? Like you want to?
Yeah. So.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's fine. So you know me. I'm not a person. People don't move me. Like I'm not a person
That's good.
Like a lot of people would think that, oh, well, your husband works out, you should want to work out. No, that's not who I am. I don't work out for you. Like
and you were an athlete your whole life.
Yes.
Which required you to work out. Which I found that there's a interesting dichotomy between people that used to work out all the time. Once they are no longer required to work out, they're like,
yeah,
I'm Gucci, I'm good.
And it's weird because my body snaps back like that. Like I literally can probably work out for the next 2 to 3 weeks nonstop, and my whole body will look different. I've just always been like that. I'm an athlete just by nature, whatever. But for me, it's not about you. Like, and it's a me thing. Like, it's got to be something that. And I think that's just, I think I've just always been like that. It's got to be an internal, because if I'm doing it for you, I'm doing it for the wrong reason, right? It's got to be something that I decide that this is what Amanda needs. Why does Amanda need this? Well, because I want to be healthier. So the change in my eating lifestyle, like, last year, I decided to do a 40-day fast, and
that's definitely all you.
And that was huge, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
I don't even think I told you. I think I just started doing it, and then I communicated it to you. I didn't ask you to do it with me. It was nothing that I had an expectation for anybody to do. I just knew it was something I needed to do. I just wanted to get healthier. And so after I did the 40-day fast, I was encountering just stuff spiritually with the Lord that I started realizing. This is not only physically do I need to get healthy, but this is paralleling with my spiritual life. And so there was a spiritual aspect to it. And then just understanding what the Lord was requiring me of this season of my life. If I'm going to get deep with it, right? So with what the Lord was requiring of me in this season of my life, it's going to require that I'm healthy, right? I can't navigate unhealthy. And so in return that I've been eating healthier, now I want to work out, right? Now I want to work out for myself, and then also for my daughter, because my daughter, we're wanting to get her healthy, and she's wanting to now get healthy. So for me, it's, well, if I want my daughter to change, I want to lead by example and hopefully inspire her, but I don't ever want her to feel pressured, right? Like, I want it to be a choice. And then it's been beautiful to see that she actually made the decision to start working out herself, right? And so I think for me now, I'm wanting to work out because I just want to, and some I'm just in that space of wanting to do it. I've never, looked at it and been like, man, Kanata's all fit and I should be fit. Like, and I tell you this all the time, like, even if you didn't work out, like,
well, my stomach's a little,
and I know this is silly
bulgy,
to you. Like I've been saying this for years, but when I met you, I didn't look at you and was just like, oh, he's fine. Like, I just thought you were such a great person. Like, it was, it was weird. I think God didn't allow. I think God didn't allow me to see you that way. Right, to be physically attracted to you. It was like later that I was like, damn, he kind of all right. Wait, how come I ain't noticed this?
And this is good because the whole point of what we're doing, you tuning in to our small world, is because there are husbands and wives on both sides of this. The wife's working out like crazy. The husband's sitting at home eating donuts, whatever. And sometimes people like, man, like, I'm trying to do this and I'm not getting the same, from my partner and blah, blah, blah. And what it boils down to is you have to do it because it is a genuine thing that flows from you. And it's like anything in life. There are people that become doctors because their parents want them to be, or nurses. And they just live this life trying to impress or do something that someone else is. And it's never going to last and give you fulfillment. I work out because I have to. It's like, it's part of my DNA. It's something I have to do to feel healthy, to feel like I'm, to feel young, vital, and or whatever the word is. And it's just a part of who I am. But in the same length, and I learned this just to get real deep and be very open. When I was dealing with pornography, right? There had been so many different times that I tried to beat the pornography stuff. One was, I just wanted to, I didn't want to feel a certain type of way. I was going to do it for my wife. I was going to do it for my future kids. I didn't want them to, my grandmother had passed away at one point. I didn't want her to see me. Like, look, it was just crazy stuff. I didn't see and actually have real victory in my life until I figured out that I cannot do this because even based on the fact that it's wrong, I can't do it because of those reasons. I have to do it because I genuinely want to change the things that I'm viewing, my purity inside my heart, and the way that I take on entertainment, which affects the way that I look at women, which affects the way that I look at you, so on and so. But it had to come from this place of realness. Just like any alcoholic, they have to come to that place where they're like, man, I really want to change. And it ain't about nobody else. It's because I want to do it for me. Yeah. So that I'm a better version of the person I'm supposed to be. And as Christians, we want to be the best versions of the person God had intended when he originally created us. Yeah. Period. We don't want to be half, 50% of that, 20. We want to be 100% of what he created us to be. Yeah. And that, when you get to that, whatever it is, music, you get in your lane, you're doing the music that's just coming purely from your heart. You're not listening to Drake, listening to the cadences, going in the studio, you're doing, and people do that stuff. Everything in life, when it's coming from a unique place that you are designed to do, that is from your heart 100%, outside of pleasing anyone, outside of trying to do a certain thing, when it's genuine, it is the fulfillment in that is
absolutely enough. Yeah. I think, and that's tough because we live in a society now that you put on this, show for people, and it's just like you post these pictures, and I want people to, you're just doing it for affirmation or to be validated and all that stuff. And it's just like, and you see these things, and people are so unhealthy, and it's just like, okay, so you got the new car, now what? Why did you get the new car? Oh, because you wanted to show off to your whatever that now you got this car. Yeah. Come to find out, it's not even yours. Like, you rented it, right? And then it's like it's just all this inauthentic. I don't even know if that's a proper word, but inauthentic. Absolutely. It's just so understanding that, like, I think it goes back to identity, right? Like, who am I, right? Who is it that I am? Who is it that God said I am? And who is God calling me to be? How do I now go and fulfill that purpose? This is going so deep. We weren't going this way, but whatever. Let's go. Maybe somebody needs to hear this. So, who is it that God called me to be? And I need to fully live that out, right? Yeah. However I'm supposed to get there, if the Lord is telling me, hey man, that this is a season I need you to get healthy, then it's not because of Konata, it's not because of so and so, it's because this is just who I need to be in order to be the woman that God has called me to be 100%.
Scuba.
And so yeah, I think now I will say, now that I've been pivoting in my lifestyle and now starting to work out and going walking. One, I love going walking in the morning now because I get to spend more time with the Lord and speak to him and whatever. But two, even the other day I said to you, I was like, hey, I think I would love to go to the gym with you, which I've never said it to you. I don't want to go to the gym with you. Right. But like I've gone to play basketball with you. For me, I'd rather go play basketball than go to the gym.
Right.
So now that I've made these life choices, now it feels like, oh, this is another way that I can connect with you. But it's not, I'm doing it for you. It's just now it's another way for me to connect with you. So
let's come up for air. We just went scuba diving, y'all. That was deep. Deep. All right.
We're supposed to be talking about business.
But yeah, I think
but all that ties into you making some money.
All that ties into identity, and you got to be who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
100% all the time. That is what the people around you need. That's what the world needs. That's what God expects.
Yep.
Our small world.
Be authentic.
Be authentic. Authentic palm fawns. I got challenged to say that word while we're doing this. I said it. All right, y'all. Are you done?
Yeah. What can I do better this week for you?
What can you do better? I would say come watch some TV with me, but you spend time with the Lord, so all right, you spend time with the Lord. That ends up being better for me. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let me think, you can crack this back, get back in the crack in the back for your boy.
Clearly his love language is touch.
Touch me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this week. Just crack my back.
Crack your
back. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get laid on the yoga mat. Crack my back.
Awesome.
What do you need me to do for you?
I would like you to take me out on a date. No kids.
Any place particularly?
Nope.
No?
Be creative. Okay. Not dinner.
Not dinner?
No.
Oh, so like a date, like what we doing activity?
Yeah.
That's not a date to some people. Some people want to go eat dinner. That's one of your things you love to do.
Yeah, but I do that on a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. So take you out on a date this week.
Yes.
Okay. Without the children.
Without the kids, preferably. All right. Yes.
Risha, you're babysitting. So let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too, baby. Our small world. Take 2.
Peace.
Tell them we okay.